Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Prime Video's new swashbuckling action thriller, The Bluff, which stars Priyanka Chopra and Karl Urban. And in this film, it is set in the late 19th century Caribbean. A former pirate must protect her family when her past catches up with her. The Bluff is directed by Frank E. Flowers and is produced by the Russo brothers. Yes, those Russo brothers who gave us Avengers Endgame and Infinity War and the Captain America films. But when they travel outside the MCU, it's a bit of a struggle for the Russo brothers. You know, the Electric State, the Gray Man. It was another Prime Video film that they did as well, but it just can't quite capture that same magic. Which, to be fair, you're not going to catch the same magic as you do with the MCU, and especially the Avengers films that they directed. They're currently directing the latest installment in the MCU with Doomsday and Secret Wars, which I'm excited for. But outside the MCU, it's been a bit of a struggle, and The Bluff is no exception. Oh man, it's a little disappointing because I found myself being a little excited for The Bluff, and you know, like pirate movies, you know, the Pirate of the Caribbeans and all that good stuff. Who doesn't like a good pirate swashbuckling movie, action movie, a female-led action movie to put on top of that? It checks a lot of boxes. It should be a slam dunk. No swing and a miss. It was not good. And I found myself bored to tears with this movie. And it's sad because it was action packed from beginning to end. It was stocked full of action, but I was still bored because there was no real story behind it. This is not a complicated story that they're telling here. A former pirate, you know, trying to make a better life for herself, escapes her past, and her past catches up with her. You know, they come back to get her, and it's simple. It's simple. I don't know. It's like it's almost as if they overcomplicated this movie for reasons, and it didn't have to overcomplicate itself. You have Karl Urban in here, who's a national treasure, or should I say global, because the man is from New Zealand, so he is a global icon. I love Karl Urban and everything that he's in. Didn't dislike him in this movie. Unfortunately, he was in a different movie than everybody else. Karl Urban was given, given a performance that you would expect from Karl Urban. He gave it his all. He didn't mail it in. Real good performance. Now, Priyanka Chopra did it. She did the best she could. I'm not a big fan of hers as far as her acting is concerned. Beautiful woman, one of the most beautiful women on earth. And the mere fact that she puts herself in films like this, you know, action packed, and you can tell she does a lot of her own stunts. I commend her for that, but she is limited. She is very limited in her acting ability, and this movie kind of fit in that wheelhouse. She wasn't asked to do a lot. She wasn't asked to talk a lot, you know, and she did the best she could with what she was given. But it was bad for the simple fact you're the lead, you know. You need to carry the movie, and she wasn't carrying the movie. It was a decent character, um, but not someone I would consider the protagonist. I'll put it like that. As far as the other characters are concerned and actors are concerned, they were wasted. Uh, the actor who plays our lead's husband, I can't remember his name, but I remember him from Ray Donovan, that show that was on Showtime. I remember him from there. Pretty decent actor. given absolutely nothing. Not his fault. The character was pointless. That character was pointless. He did nothing. He did nothing. Temuera Morrison, who is a legendary actor, pointless. Pointless. Wasted in this film. I don't know what was the purpose of these characters. The main characters here was Priyanka Chopra's lead character and Karl Urban's character, and they don't have enough screen time together. They had one good scene together that saved it, you know, and it was Karl Urban who was carrying all of that, all of their interactions throughout the film, because you could tell Karl Urban had the most dialogue than anybody else in this movie, and he's the villain. He carried the movie. He gave the backstory. He gave the explanations. He gave everything story wise that you learned moving forward to push the story forward came from Karl Urban's character. And when you finally get all of the pieces together, his motivations, why he was on this island looking for Priyanka's character, he's no longer the villain in my eyes. I didn't see him as a villain. I really didn't. And that's not good. It's not good when you're cheering for the villain. Even though the protagonist, it wasn't like she was evil or bad. She did some things in her past, but her story, why she ended up on this island, was an interesting story had they flushed it out more. But no, we got a backstory dump and a couple of lines of dialogue late into the film. And by that point, you really didn't care. I just didn't care what why she ended up where she's at and how she learned what she learned. And we still really don't know how she's equipped with this much knowledge as she is. We do know that she ran with this crew, that she was a part of this pirate gang or clique, and initially she was somebody in servitude, a part of this slave trade, but they took a liking to her or whatever the case may be, and she became a pirate. But I'm really piecing that together in my head because it wasn't flushed out completely. It wasn't flushed out properly throughout the film, and you had enough runtime in this movie to flush it out. But they chose to go with more action, which, hey, look, I'm an action movie junkie. I love action, but too much action can be boring, and too much action can ruin the movie because you're just doing action sequences for action sequence sake, just to say you had an explosion here or a fight here or whatever the case, a shootout here, because you figured, and I'm talking about the filmmakers here, they figured that you're here to watch an action movie and not a drama or a thriller or whatever the case may be. But I do want story. I do want some backstory, something to get me behind these characters. And unfortunately, we didn't get that in this movie. Now, as far as the action is concerned, there was some really decent action sequences. Nothing over the top. You didn't get any Matrix style fight sequences. You did get some John Wick type of action sequences in here with the hand-to-hand combat using daggers and machetes and knives and things of that nature. Yeah, all that was there. It was a little grounded, so to speak. That was cool. I did like that, but even with that, it wasn't filmed right. It wasn't filmed cleanly where you can really see the action. And it wasn't really shaky cam. It was like it was zoomed in too closely. Give me a couple of wide shots where I could see the two actors working or the two stunt performers working. I really couldn't get engaged with a couple of them, but it was it was fun. It was fun action. The best action sequence to me wasn't really an action sequence, but it was pretty exciting, and that was when the pirates were trying to cross this ravine, and they had gators in there. And the gators went to town on those pirates. That was cool. That was cool. You don't see that much in movies. Had a little fun with that. As far as the climactic battle, the thing that the movie is building you up to towards the end, wet fart. Didn't do anything. It was not exciting at all. It was not satisfying at all. But the movie is watchable. I will say this much. It wasn't like, okay, I seen it once, I don't have to see it again. I would probably check it out again just to see if it's something I missed as far as the story is concerned. Because like I said, there's enough in here to hook you to watch it. You might feel a little bamboozled by the end, like, wait, what was this? But is enough in there to keep your interest. Now, for me, I was just sitting there like, okay, let's get on with it. You know, it's not that many pirates to have these 4 or 5 action set pieces throughout this film. It's not that many. It wasn't like it was a legion of pirates that she was fighting against. But anyway, it's all right. It's not the end of the world type movie. Like, I feel like I wasted 2 hours, like I've seen recently. I will say I'll add this to the 2026 vibe so far this year, and we're only 2 months in, but it's like, man, I pray that the rest of 2026 gets astronomically better than what we've gotten this year so far. But this was not hitting. Of course, I shouldn't be surprised. Amazon dumped this on a random Wednesday in February, so that should have told me. That was the big red flag that I didn't see. I should have paid attention to that, but you live, you learn. The Bluff, which is currently on Prime Video, gets a letter grade of a D. Yeah, it wasn't all that good. You know, it was disappointing for me. Now, if you go into this not looking, if you had zero expectations and just want to check it out, you probably will enjoy it more. Me, I was actually looking forward to it. I thought I was going to get a John Wick, Pirates of the Caribbean mix, you know, but no, it wasn't even any comedy in it. It's no funny lines in this movie. Not one, not a joke crack. If it was there, it went completely over my head. But that's my humble opinion. I would love to know yours. What did you think of The Bluff? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of The Bluff. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.